There are several things that can be helpful. People would drink a warm beverage like tea, decaffeinated, obviously. Some people could take a warm bath before. Why? Because it sounds counterintuitive, right? Because you're like, well, why do I need to? And I recognize too, within the Caribbean context, that having a warm bath, not many people can afford that or have that luxury. But in many ways, having a bath can be very soothing because it can drop the temperature. Not many people know this, right? That you really need a lower body temperature to fall asleep, right? And what we say typically when you take a warm bath is that it actually doesn't get you hot. It actually opens the pores and lets the core body temperature out so that it has that cooling effect. And so if you're taking room temperature or cold water, in many ways, it can have a similar effect. You also want to ensure that where you sleep is conducive. Recognize that is going to be tough. What does that mean? You don't need any noise distractions. You shouldn't sleep with the light on, turn that off. You want it to be pitch black in many ways. You want to limit the amount of time that you read as well. So 15, 20 minutes is good enough. Try not to read very, stimulating things like nothing that will take you, to have these nightmares or, induce fear. Limit the types of stressful conversations that you have before as well. And I think that's good. Another thing that we're exploring now that your audience could take into consideration as a thing to do when you say, it's hard for me. We've worked with, some of the companies that have these, sleep story apps, like a Calm, like a Headspace, like a Moshi Kids, whereby it can be soothing for the person. Reading bedtime stories as well. Yeah, I couldn't tell you how many adults come up to me secretly and say, these bedtime stories are great, even though I do it for my kids, but, it's really good for me too. And I think those are some things that people can do. And the last suggestion is something that we're getting in the space of is what we call playing, we call different colors of noise. So everyone knows about white noise. I wouldn't necessarily suggest white noise, because I think white noise is for a different purpose and it depends on the pitch or the volume rather of it. Because white noise can sound very annoying because essentially it's all the different wavelengths going at random times, and if you turn it up too loud, it can be jarring. And so I truly believe that white noise is more to induce concentration. So if you're trying to focus and do work, I think that's where white noise seems to be good. You can turn down the volume a little bit more, and it can be helpful for sleep, but particularly to block out external noise. So if you live in an area that has a lot of noise, if you want to drown out the external noise, you can kind of put the white noise not necessarily inside, but outside to drown out that disturbing noise. But what we're finding now is other colors of noise like pink noise and violet and brown noise. And you can literally go on YouTube and look it up, and you have like hours of these different types of noise. And it really induces it. I'll say this just as a joke. I hope your audience won't take offense, but the reason why it's called brown noise is because if you let people listen to it, then this was an experiment that was done in the past, that it was so relaxing that they would relax their sphincter muscles. And so they would, in many ways, not have any control, and so people will literally go, because that's how, relaxing brown noise is. And for me, I've used it with my children, sorry, ladies and moms, dads typically cheat when it comes to taking care of, kids. Because moms are just so nurturing and great. Guys are just getting, like very purposeful in that way. Not saying that moms aren't either. And I've used that effectively meaning the brown noise, with our son as well too. So, but those are some general sleep hygiene tips that people can utilize, and there are so many more. But just so that people can, just for parsimony rather and simplicity, I just wanted to just highlight just a few of those.